Namaskaram. Meeting you all after a long time, a long break that I have taken. Well, I had to because of some personal emergencies. I'm back today to tell you all the story of The Elephant's Child by Rudyard Kipling from his book Just So Stories. Long ago in Africa, there were many animals, of course, but the elephants did not have a long trunk. They had a black, snot, boot like nose, which they would wriggle from right to left to up and down. And it was of no use. But that's how they lived. They didn't have long nose. And there was a new elephant which was born, the elephant's child. And this little baby, oh my God, had this satiable curiosity, meaning he asked so many questions. So many questions that everybody were like, "Whew, fair up." He went to his aunt ostrich and asked, "Hey, Aunt Ostrich, why are your feathers like that?" And Aunt Ostrich kicked him and spanked him with her long, strong hoof. He went and saw his tall Uncle Giraffe and said, "Hey, tall Uncle Giraffe, why are your skin having spots?" "Ha, you little elephant child," he said, and spanked with his long, strong hoof. Did not deter him from going and asking more questions. Went to his broad aunt hippopotamus and said, "Hey auntie, why are your eyes so red?" "Ah, you ask so many questions," she said, and kicked him, spanked him with her broad hoof. "All of you are spanking me for asking questions. Ha! But my satiable curiosity, I have to know everything. Everything what I see, everything what I touch, everything what I feel, everything what I taste, everything what I smell, and everything I want to know." And he went to his hairy Uncle Baboon and said, "Hey Uncle Baboon, why do these melons taste so?" "Ha! Again, questions," said the hairy baboon and spanked him with his hairy paw. And everybody were spanking him for asking questions. And one morning, when all the animals were there in the forests of Africa, our elephant's child, with his satiable curiosity, asked the question which no one had ever asked. And what was that? He said, "Hey, I want to know, what does a crocodile have for dinner?" "Shh, shh, shh, shh," said all the animals. And his aunts and uncles and father and mother and everybody came and spanked him. "Ah, again you all have spanked me, but I really want to know what the crocodile has for his dinner." And as he repeated the question, he spotted the kolo bird in the bushes. "Hey, little elephant child, you want to know what the crocodile has for dinner?" "Yeah, do you know?" "No, I don't. But if you want to know, you have to go to the great, grey, green, greasy Limpopo River, which has a lot of fever trees, and you will get your answer there," said the kolo bird. "Ah, is that so? Okay, I shall go." And the elephant's child looked at his family, looked at his aunts and uncles and friends and said, "Goodbye, I am going to the great, green, grey, greasy Limpopo River with the fever trees to figure out the answer to my question. And as he said goodbye, they all came and spanked him once again in all different ways. As a goodbye spank, apparently. He felt warm, but he wasn't surprised with their spanks, and he set out with 100 pounds of banana, the small red kinds, 100 sugar canes, the long purple ones, the striped ones, and 17 melons. And he set out. And as he was walking, he crossed many villages and cities, and he was eating his melons. And he threw the rinds everywhere because he couldn't pick them up. And he kept walking. And after walking for many days and eating his melons and throwing the rinds, he reached the great green, grey, greasy Limpopo River. And he was wondering, where can he find the crocodile? And remember, he had never ever seen a crocodile, so he didn't know how it looked. And there he saw the bicolored rock python coiled around a rock. And he went and asked, "Hey, do you know what does a crocodile have for dinner?" Said the python, and uncoiled himself and took his big long tail and spanked him. Ah, here also for my satiable curiosity I get spanked. Well, I'm not surprised, but do you know? You want to know what crocodile has for dinner? Are you crazy? Said the python. Yes, I want to know. Well, if you want to know, you need to go to the banks of the great grey, green, greasy Limpopo River, and you shall find there. Off you go, said the python. Well, our elephant child, with his last melon in his hand, finished eating it, threw the rind, and came to the banks of the river. He saw a log on the river, and the log winked with one eye open. And our elephant child wondered what it was. And the log opened the other eye too. Ha! You're not a wooden log. Well, I suppose. Have you seen a crocodile? Asked the elephant's child. Have I seen what? Well, I'm asking you if you have seen the crocodile. Well, my child, it's me, the crocodile. I live in this great, grey, green, greasy Limpopo River, set with the fever trees around. What do you want to know from me? Ha! Alas, I find you. It's you whom I have been searching for. Well, I just have one question because I have this satiable curiosity. Ha! Ask me any question that you want to know and I shall answer, for I know all the answers in the world, said the crocodile. Well, all I want to know is, what do you have for dinner? What kind of a question is that? Well, I shall answer your question. Why don't you just walk closer to the banks and come closer to me so that I can whisper the answer and I don't want anyone else to know? The elephant's child thought, okay, I'll do that, and he came closer. And as he was walking closer, the crocodile swished his tail. The elephant's child went back because he didn't want to be spanked again for his satiable curiosity. Crocodile said, no, I'm not going to do anything. Just come closer. I shall tell you what I'll have for dinner. Are you sure you're not going to spank me? Asked the elephant's child. Of course I won't. And as the elephant child neared the crocodile came closer and closer. And he just opened his mouth to whisper and plop, got hold of the big black boot-like nose of the elephant's child and said, well, today I'm thinking of having an elephant's child for dinner. What? You're gonna eat me? Said the elephant's child, because his nose was all compressed with the crocodile's mouth. Leave me alone! Leave me! And he struggled and he shouted and screamed. And the crocodile said, ho ho, I can't live out. Oh, come, I'm going to eat you. And he started pulling him towards the river and towards himself. And the elephant's child didn't know anything and he struggled and he started pulling himself back. And there his nose started to grow. And listening to all this tussle, the bicolored rock python came there. Said, you satiable curiosity, elephant child, pull with all your might, else you will be eaten by the crocodile for his dinner, said the python. The elephant's child spread all his four legs and struggled and pulled and said, eat me, eat me. I don't want to be eaten. Leave me alone. Did the crocodile leave him? Not at all. It only made his nose grow longer and longer and longer. And there was the python saying, pull with your might, you elephant's child. And he coiled himself around the elephant's child and tugged him and pulled him. And plop fell the elephant's child on the ground and the crocodile fell deep into the river. Elephant's child looked around and saw his nose grown 5 feet tall. He took a lot of banana leaves and covered it and went to the great grey, green, greasy Limpopo River and put it inside. What might you be doing? Asked the python. Well, don't you see? My nose has become so long, I've put it into the water so that it can shrink back into my original size. I don't think that will ever happen, said the python. Well, it might. You never know. I shall wait, said the elephant's child. A day passed, 2 days passed, 3 days passed, and nothing happened to his nose. It was still 5 feet long inside the water. And as he was waiting, there was a fly which came onto the back of the elephant's child. And without his knowledge, plop, he just swapped and swished the fly dead. Wantage number 1, said the python. Could you have done this with that old nose of yours? Ha! No, I couldn't have. Well, thank you, said the elephant's child. Why don't you eat some grass now? Said the python. And without his knowledge or without even thinking, he took his long nose and plucked some grass and put it inside his mouth. Wantage number 2. Could you have done this with your old nose? Said the python. It's so hot here. What do I do? I can't go inside the river, said the python. And immediately our elephant's child took his nose and played in the water, took some mud, pluck it to coo, put some mud cap on his head and felt all nice and cool. Wantage number 3, said the python. Well, I think I like my nose. Thank you so much for helping me, said the elephant's child as politely as he could, and started going back home. And remember, on the way back home, he picked up all the rinds that he had thrown because he was a very clean pachyderm, wasn't he? And he didn't want to dirty his surroundings. He cleaned up all of it and reached home and said, "Hello, everyone! Who, who, who is that? That's you?" The elephant's child with the satiable curiosity. "What question do you have? Hey, what happened to your nose now? Do you want to be spanked again?" "Now, how many questions will you all ask me? Do you want to be spanked? Do you know how it feels to be spanked?" he said, and took his trunk and pluck. Did he spank anyone? Well, he didn't. He just did that on the ground, and the sound that came, oh my God, everybody was so scared. And they dare not come near elephant's child. And then he told the whole story of his journey to the great grey green greasy Limpopo river, and what happened there, and how he met the python, and how he met the crocodile, and what happened, and what were the advantages that he had with his long trunk. And then his uncle, his aunt, his uncle, who all were his uncle and aunt? Do you remember? Aunt Ostrich, Aunt Hippopotamus, right? Very good. Uncle Giraffe and Uncle Baboon, his mother, his father, his children, his friends, not his children, his sisters and brothers. Everybody were listening to the story with rapt attention, and they loved it. And next day when he got up, his father and mother were gone. And after a few days, they returned back with the long nose, and all the elephants followed them because they just loved this new nose of the elephant's child. And then they say that's how the elephants, even till date, have this long trunk, which is quite advantageous to them. And don't they look cute? But they don't use it for spanking anyone, and no one ever spanked anyone in that forest ever again. So that's my adaptation of the Rudyard Kipling, The Elephant's Child story. I do encourage you to go read the book because the way he's written it, the language he's used is just beautiful. So please go read it. And yes, of course, don't forget to share my version of the story with all your friends and family so that all of you can enjoy it. And I shall see you all again next week with another story. Till then, happy listening, enjoy the stories, and namaskaram.